Just Us Thinking After Show. Here we are again.
Here we are again.
So this is the after show for the proud American Patriot.
Correct.
Make sure I say that right. The proud
Right.
American Patriot. It was fun having him in here again.
It was. Chad's always a good guy to have on here and talk, so I like it too because you guys can just go on and on and on and on.
And you don't say anything. You just like sit in the background and play your game.
Well, I don't play my game, but I'm like, okay. I try to say something, and I'm like, okay, I missed my chance.
Getting a word in edgewise with me and Chad sometimes can be a challenge.
It's always a challenge.
It's like that. What's that game that they play with the two ropes and like the double dutch? Is that what it is?
Oh yeah, the jump rope game.
Yeah, the jump rope
Yeah.
game. So that's me and Chad. Me and Chad are the ropes, and you have to like sit there and go, okay, can I get in? Can I get in?
Yeah.
And once you in, you got to get in quick.
Yeah.
So you missed that opportunity.
Yeah.
I think you said a few things.
I did. So yeah.
You were able to play jump rope there really well.
I did a little bit.
Now, generally on our show, we don't get political.
Right.
And when I say we don't get political, I mean politics are always going to play a part in everything.
Yeah.
But we don't.
I don't know my stuff and not like you guys do to really debate. So.
So now we chose the format that we're using.
Right.
We chose the format that we didn't want to get too political. Because I want this show to kind of be a little bit of a break from the craziness in the world.
Yeah.
Now that does not mean that I'm not up to date with political things, and I have my ear to the ground on a lot of that.
Yeah.
So I can, if I had to, I could politically debate with the best of them. I mean, I could go toe to toe with Chad and we could debate. He chose more of a political and more, in my words, probably controversial podcast to go with.
Right. And that's his right to do it. So, I mean, it's our right to do what we want, and it's his right to do what he wants. So,
Yep.
I mean.
And I'm going to support him to
Right.
do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he has a voice. I think whether you agree with what he says or not, I don't think you should ever censor someone, for stating their side or their facts.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what I like about Chad is you could agree or disagree. Like, we don't always see eye to eye on everything. And you could still have an honest conversation with the guy.
Yeah.
It's, I guess
I've seen that I've seen that side of you guys too. So yeah, it's very doable with you guys.
Yeah. We don't hold anything like that. I mean,
No grudges.
no grudges. There's no, if he says something, it's like, it's not, that's one thing I hate about when you debate some people. They're like, you state the facts. If they don't have any like facts or anything to say, there, well, you're a meanie head and I don't like you. Your mother dresses you funny. It's like, really? What does that have to do with any of the subject?
Right?
It's just that.
Okay.
You never heard that? You don't remember when a kid?
Hell
Mom,
yeah.
he's touching me. He's a meanie head again.
Yeah.
It's the name calling that just
That's
doesn't.
ridiculous. Yeah.
So if there's nothing to say, and there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what? I don't have enough information on that, so maybe I should do a little more research.
Right.
A lot of times, I'll hear something from somebody and they're like, yeah, this happened. I'm like, I must have missed that. Let me do the research on that.
Right. Yep. You do that a lot.
I don't come back and say, well, I don't know. I haven't heard that. I don't come back in a bad place and say, well, that was that news source and they're always that way. I don't do that. I'll go listen to opposing ideas just to hear what the argument is.
Right.
And Chad, I think, does that too. I mean, he'll have a good debate. So I think his show would be pretty good. I got to listen. I got a little insight to a couple of his shows coming up. So
Okay.
I will tell you, he was here. He was, he was recording here, which was nice, in our studio. And I was like, okay, this, he's on point with a lot of stuff. I will tell you, he does have his facts there. He does his research. So, if there's a couple of people like Chad Ben Shapiro. There's a few other people that when they debate, they have their ducks in a row.
Oh yeah.
And I think Chad's up there with those. He'll look at it, and then he doesn't speak from ignorance. That's the one thing I also like about Chad. He doesn't speak from ignorance.
Right.
If he doesn't know, he'll like, I don't have enough information on that. I would like to research a little more.
Yeah, and that's that's what makes him so good at, the way he talks about stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's true. That's what makes it a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to see how his show goes, and I'm going to be listening. So
yes, we will.
Although he is dead wrong in one thing.
What?
Team Iron Man all the way. I'm sorry, Chad. I really am. I mean, nostalgia with Captain America. I get. That. Of course, the proud American patriot is going to support
Captain America.
But yep. I'm sorry. I'm still Team Iron Man all the way. We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one.
Yep.
And we both can't be right. And I'm sorry, Chad. I'm right on that one. Mikey, you're Team Iron Man too, right?
I am Team Iron Man.
Why are you Team Iron Man? What makes Team Iron Man better for you?
I just like the way he knows how to build stuff, and I thought that was just always really cool.
See, I like that part of him too. I think the ingenuity, and I think it's relatable to me for that, because I like to tinker and do that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So it's also his character. So there was the character development for Iron Man was so much better. He was a weapons dealer because that's what his dad did. Okay, so there were weapons dealers. They were doing that.
Oh.
He was selling weapons, and then once he realized that those weapons were being used by the other side, they were double dipping. He's like, nope, we're not going to do that. So there was almost an immediate integrity there that he had. So, I hate to say it, but you can't turn the clock and say these weapons don't exist.
Right.
Was he profiting from them? Yeah, but I mean, who wasn't at that point, really?
Exactly.
When he realized, okay, my weapons are getting in the wrong hands, it's going to do some serious damage. I want to get those out of the hands. I like that part of Iron Man. Mm. I also like the fact that he didn't want the government to be dictating what he could or couldn't do. He was more government, get out of my hair.
Yeah.
I like that. The problem with smart guys is when they're incredibly smart like that. It's when you walk in the room, you got to understand it has to be frustrating from them trying to communicate with people. That'd be like us trying to communicate with a bunch of monkeys to teach them to do something.
Yeah.
It's kind of the equivalent, because you gotta understand, he was operating on a whole new level. Like they're in Avengers, they're like he started saying all kinds of stuff, and like the one I forget her name. She's like, "When did you become an expert in this?" And his line was, "Last night." Like he was able to absorb all that information literally overnight.
Wow.
I mean, he just immersed himself in that and just wham. And then, Banner was starting to talk, and he's like, finally, someone that, could operate on my level. And I mean, they could, he didn't trust the government. He thought they were up to something, which they were. I mean, let's be honest with you.
Yeah.
They were. I don't know. There's so many things. And I think my problem now, Captain America says, "Oh, you didn't tell him." So there was Ultron. Ultron is supposed to be the big thing that Tony screwed up with, right?
Okay.
So Ultron was a plan to basically, that was his UN. That was, if I could put a robot around that could think and help protect people, that would be great. It wasn't a secret project. Banner knew about it, so he was talking to Banner about it. I'm sure if Captain America, if Steve Rogers came up and said, "Hey, what are you working on? What's this Ultron project?" It wasn't that he kept it from him. That's where people, I think, get confused. I don't think he talked to Steve about it because, I mean, let's put it this way. No, I'm serious.
Okay.
See, I'm on a rant now. You see what you did? Let's put it this way. If I was working on something that you had no idea about, right? Mm-hmm. And I come to you and say, "Hey, this is what I'm working on," your eyes are gonna gloss over, and you're gonna be like, "I don't understand a word you're saying."
No.
If you can't relate, why would I? I'm not going to come talk to you about it. You don't come tell me every time you book something and what system you use all the time, right?
Right.
It's now if you were with Abby or someone else that did your job with you, you're gonna have a different level of conversation with them about work than you would with me.
Yeah.
That's the same idea. You know, as far as he's concerned, Steve was, Steve had his job, and he basically, Iron Man said, nope, he's the team leader. Talk to him. He figured he was going to lead the team, and then Tony could do what he needed to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an ego there that he was trying to take over the team.
Okay.
So, but then the thing that really still backstabs me is when he knew Bucky killed his dad.
Yeah.
And you're telling me he never found a chance to say, "Hey, Tony, I need to talk to you. I need to do this." Just to let you know, he was mind controlled. So everybody was supposed to be okay with Bucky being mind controlled and killing his dad, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Tony, just accept it." Right? When you go back to Ultron, the Scarlet Witch got in Tony's head, which basically sparked that whole movie. The reason Tony built the Ultron is because Scarlet Witch got in his head, basically mind controlled him, that caused that whole movie. That's so it's okay for Bucky to be mind controlled, and everybody's supposed to say, "Oh yeah, it's okay," but everyone wants to get pissed off at Tony when that happens. Fuck you guys. You guys are assholes.
Alrighty then.
I think that's my problem. So that's my rant. That's
Okay.
So sorry, Captain America, you're wrong. You're on the wrong side of that.
Okie dokie then.
I normally don't go on a Marvel rant very often, but
you very rarely do.
I just rewatched some of the movies. And I'm like,
okay.
It's nice to rewatch. And I'm like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy. So it's one thing where it was Captain America's like, oh, it's Scarlet Witch. He's just a kid and blah blah blah. But he smacked the shit out of Spider-Man, didn't he?
I think he did. Yeah.
And Spider-Man was younger, right?
Yeah.
What happened to? Oh, it's just a kid. Huh? What happened there?
Kid's got like super duper, or not super duper, but he's got powers.
Well, Spider-Man can whoop.
Yeah.
I will tell you, if Spider-Man versus Captain America, who's winning?
Captain America.
No, Spider-Man whoop Captain America's ass.
I agree with that one.
Really?
Oh yeah, Spider-Man is stronger, tougher, more powers. He will whoop. Captain America doesn't even stand a chance against Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
What does Captain America have? Strength? He's strong?
Well, yeah,
Look at Spider-Man. You remember that one where he had to shoot the webs and he had to stop the train?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember him like spraying his webs and like holding buildings together?
Yeah.
How much strength do you think that takes?
Okay.
Spider-Man whoop Captain America's top. Mikey, you where are you at? Represent.
Spider-Man will, I agree, will win. 100%.
Kick his ass. What do you mean win?
He also has long range, too.
Yeah, well, Captain America does too with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, that is fair. But also in Civil War, he also stole it from him.
That's true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And he got beat by a movie made in the 70s and 80s, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing that, it's crazy. So, I don't know. Spider-Man whooped the crap out of him.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Any day of the week. Now, I think Spider-Man could whoop Iron Man's ass. I think Spider-Man could beat Iron Man.
It depends. Now, what suit are you talking?
See, now here's the deal. I think Spider-Man, that kid's a genius too. You got to understand that they operate at a different level. I don't know. It's just they're both really incredibly smart, and they could figure it out. We know Spider-Man will whoop the hell out of Doctor Strange in Doctor Strange's territory.
That's true, yeah.
By math. Did you see the math he did in that? I mean, just like, oh yeah, I could do this and this and this and this. I mean, that ability to think on his feet, if he starts toning that, I think he could kick the shit out of the Iron Man.
Okay.
I think he would figure out how to shut down the iron suit, and I think that would be the case.
Okay.
I don't think he would win in the Hulkbuster suit, though.
I think Iron Man in the Hulkbuster suit against Spider-Man.
Yes.
It's big and bulky. I think Spider-Man can beat that too. All you have to do is a couple well timed, get in there, pull a couple wires, and get some of that stuff. I think now Tony in the nano suit, that's a whole nother ball game. Because that doesn't have any holes. And that's where the adaptable comes in. Do you remember in Civil War, Ant-Man shrunk down to get into the suit and started pulling wires and screwing with the suit, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And then so after that, Tony had the nano suit that didn't have any gaps in it.
Oh.
Every suit Tony made was an adaptation of... He figured out what was a problem from before and adapted to it. For example... When he was in Iron Man 2, when that one guy was using the electric whips and that were charged. Do you remember that? I think it was Mick Rooney.
Oh.
He was the one that he had the whips. He did the whips on there, and he had the whip suit. And like during the the race one. You don't remember that?
No.
God damn, you guys don't remember nothing. Sucks having a memory. But he fought that guy in Iron Man 2, and so his adaptation was, well, those are energy source. I need the suit to absorb the energy source. And then you fast forward to the Avengers. Thor hits him and Thor are going at it. Thor hits him with that hammer, and his suit absorbs and goes, 400% energy. Great. And shoots it back at Thor.
Oh, cool.
So that's what I'm saying is there's always an adaptability on Tony. He was always thinking 4 steps ahead of everybody. When something happened, he banked that information, say, yep, that's a problem. I will fix that. He was a fixer.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I'm sorry, that gives a leg up in a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now you give Iron Man enough time with enough information on his enemy, he'd find a way to destroy him. He would find a way.
Yeah.
I bet he would.
Okay.
They almost had Thanos' glove if it wasn't for Star-Lord.
Yeah, they would.
That dumbass. I would have knocked the hell out of Star-Lord. I said, smack the shit out of this guy. I understand you're pissed. I understand your emotions get to you, but we got a job to do, buddy.
Right.
So, I don't know. They're crazy. That's my Marvel rant.
Okay.
You didn't expect that, do you?
I didn't, no.
Well, this is the Proud American Patriot Aftershow. So,
Okay.
I mean...
Makes sense.
I want to say Captain America is a proud American patriot, right?
He is, yep.
So... No, and I'm sure we'll get a little more political, and we'll cover a little bit of that, but I don't want it in the face.
Yeah.
There's people like Chad that are wanting to do the political format, and I'm all for that. I support that 100%. Whether you're right leaning, left leaning, I like that he is willing to let I think, and if I remember right, Mikey, you were here too. He's not just, he doesn't just go after the left. He'll go after the right. When they do something stupid, he'll call them out on that too. So
he's an equal opportunity player when it comes to calling bullshit on people.
Oh yeah. He'll call bullshit on whatever side it is.
Yeah.
So he's not afraid to.
Right.
And he has a little bit of passion for it. I mean,
he does, yeah. And that's a good thing too. So, I mean, I wish I had a little bit more passion for that kind of stuff, but I guess I'm just like, whatever.
I do too. I do have that same passion. I do pay attention. I do. if someone comes up and says, "Well, you just don't know politics," that's not true. I do know politics.
Yeah.
I choose not to have that. I choose not to. I don't know. Say my opinions because, like I said, I wanted this show to be a little more fun, a little more entertaining, a little more, I guess, middle ground.
Okay.
And I like I said, I almost want it to be a break from the, political parties, and, we're going to touch on a little bit of, wars and religion and stuff like that. I mean, we have our opinions. They'll shine through a little bit, but I also don't want it to like overpower some of my messages that I would like to portray.
Yep.
So,
and that's your right as well. So, yep.
Yep. So I think it's still going to be, like I said, I'm going to listen to his show. He had me cracking up. There's a couple things he said. I'm like, yep. I was a guest on his show. So,
yep. You're a guest a couple times, right?
Yeah. In fact, I was just a guest. So one of his upcoming shows, I think that show is going to launch the same time this show is.
Oh, okay.
So when you've listened to this, you could go right over to his channel and say, "Yep, okay, there they are talking about this." So
yep.
it's I had fun doing the show. I mean,
I did too. So
my problem is we could sit there and talk for hours.
Yeah.
We did almost, right, Mikey?
You really did.
So Mikey's giving us the time signal, and we're like, "Yep, we know."
And Chad taps me on the back of the chair saying, "We're going to go long." I'm like, okay, yep.
Yeah, how did you not figure that one out?
Yeah, come on, Mikey.
Yeah. You don't need to be Tony Stark to figure that one out.
No.
I mean, even Captain America could figure that one out.
Exactly. Our dogs can figure that one out.
Yep. Yeah. Kind of crazy. So.
Yep.
No, so I don't know.
Crazy good.
Now, we're on the political topic, so we might as well stick with it.
Okay.
Where would you classify us, I guess? We're kind of middle ground, aren't we?
I would think so, yeah. I'm pretty...
Conservative?
What's the definition of conservative in this kind of...
See, you don't even pay attention to politics, do you?
Yeah.
So conservatives are typically considered right side of the alley. They are wanting, I guess, they're more traditional, or their values are a little more core values.
Okay, so that would be me then, yeah.
Libertarian left is more, free range, free government.
They're like the give me, right? Sorry.
It's not really that cut and dry. God. That's Chad, an excellent show idea is Politics 101. And Rebecca will enroll in your class tomorrow.
Yep, sign me up.
It's really it's two sides of the same coin. It's
yeah, I mean, I think both sides are they both want the give me.
Well, but it's for their agenda.
Yeah.
So the biggest problem that the right have is a lot of people don't like that they give a lot of breaks to rich, wealthy people.
Right.
The Democrats want to give more to regular people, but what they don't say is they're still giving to the rich people that are their sponsors and everything too.
Yeah.
So they just hide who they give their money to a little better than the Republicans. Hate to say that way, but the Republicans are like, yep, we're gonna give businesses tax breaks, and I hate to say it, but everybody's like, well, what about the little guy?
Well, if they give the businesses a tax break, doesn't that fall back on the employees? Don't the employees get a little bit of a break too, or no?
Well,
or is it situate case by case?
So that would be, let me put it this way. If your dad came to you and said, hey, I'm going to give you money for Mikey. This is his money. I would like this to go to him. But I'm giving it to you, and you're the one that has to oversee that.
Okay.
Okay, so now you're the company. Mikey's your employee. What do you do with that money? If you're corrupt, you keep it, and you don't give it to him.
Well, I would save it and give it to him.
that means you're a better business person than 90% of the business owners out there.
Okay.
Big business owners.
Yeah.
That's the problem. These big businesses get breaks, and it's supposed to trickle down to the employees, and it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't. Take some of these companies that make billions of dollars. We'll touch a little bit on the strike.
Okay.
Okay, so the auto union strike.
Didn't one of them just agree?
Yeah, I think it's
it
pretty much
GM?
ending. I think they have an agreement with Ford and GM.
Oh, okay.
So the Detroit strike is really done.
Okay.
So here's the thing: is you had these CEOs of these companies that were, I think in essence got over the last 4 years got 40% raises. The employees didn't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, can you imagine working for one of these companies and they're like, it's hard for these employees to say, well, we did a loss on the EV vehicles. It was a planned loss, but we didn't make as much money on this. We knew it was going to do it, so we're going to cut raises a little bit, or we're going to start trimming the fat, so we're not going to give you that much money, while their CEO is continuing to get more and more money.
Yeah. Well, I heard even with the strike, they're gonna take more jobs down to Mexico, aren't they?
Well, so you are getting political there. So that's the problem with, these companies get a break because they could pay those workers less money
Right.
to do this.
Yeah.
And now I'm sorry, but I think if a company does that, there should be, they should, if they're going to take jobs away from Americans, our government's interest would be to keep jobs here.
Right.
So there should be like an import tax or some type of penalty when you say, well, yeah, I want a call center in India. So, and I'm going to pay these guys, $2 an hour. So I don't have to pay the guy $15 an hour in California or wherever they're at.
Yeah.
And then
they should definitely impose penalties on them when they do that
So-
kind of stuff. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
if the one person gets $15 here, and Mikey, here's a math lesson. I hope you're paying attention. So you're paying a U.S. worker here $15 an hour, and you're paying the guy doing the same job in Mexico, India, wherever it is, and you're paying him $3 an hour. How many people can you have for that $15? Come on, Mikey.
5?
Yep. So the one person in America is 5 people there.
Yeah.
So now I'm sorry, but
But our government should, and this is where I kind of, I don't know. I think the government should, if these companies are going to do that, they should find these companies that do that, because they're creating more people, they're taking jobs away.
right.
Eventually those people aren't going to be able to pay for their house or pay for their apartment, so then they're going to be living on the streets, or barely being able to pay their rent or their electric. And then we kind of touched on this with the veterans episode. Our government needs to take care of our people.
Right. And that is that's my problem with our government system. Our government is so used to and so willing to send billions of dollars overseas to help third world countries and countries I get it, they need it, but man,
We need it here too.
that would be like you having a job as a maid and you go clean houses all day, and your house yourself is a pigsty. I mean, clean your house first before you do stuff like that.
Exactly.
I hate to say it that way, but that's my problem with the government is we're sending aid to all these other countries. We're helping them out, but and I don't know if it's a penalty if you move it to another, but I think there should be
should be some kind of implication.
if you send your workers overseas, there should be some type of incentive to keep those jobs in America.
Yeah.
Now that's where the Republicans' answer is, well, we'll just we'll give them tax breaks, and hopefully that will make them want to keep people here. Well, then you have greedy CEOs. So it's not really, I can't really blame the Republican Party for their thought process, because they're trying to fix it, but it's they're bailing out they're bailing water out of a boat that has a hole in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
You're not fixing the hole.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with the Republicans. Now the Democrats would say, well, maybe if we, just have more boats, and then we could just have more boats, right?
Yeah.
That way, if someone sinks, we'll just get a new boat.
Yeah.
And that's their free handout there. It's healthcare. They want universal healthcare. I'm sorry, but I'm in the opinion that I would like the government not to be having their hand in my pocket with everything.
Right.
I think the government itself needs to trim the fat. They need to stop getting their hand in all these cookie jars. They need to start letting the states handle things. They need to start letting the cities handle, their issues. They need to start focusing on better things. What's more important? Sending $1 billion to Ukraine in a war that's been going on for 2 years,
Yeah.
or spending $1 billion here in the U.S. rebuilding roads, helping our homeless population, or stuff like that.
Or schools, and go back to teaching kids, things they need to learn.
Well, yeah, and the thing is we've gotten to a society point where, parents aren't raising kids anymore. These schools are.
Yeah.
And some parents they're like, and it comes back to everybody's too busy. You got parents that are two parent, they're both working, and so, there's not a parent at home helping teach these kids anymore home. I think that's what we've gotten away from.
Yeah.
So, and that's not saying that, two people working outside the home can't do that, but I'm saying that's going to take more effort.
Right.
I just, if you're going to have a kid, that's a big responsibility. And there should be a progression. You shouldn't be able to have a kid without some steps. One of his shows, we were talking about a lot of training. So the same thing. So if you want to have a kid, your first thing is someone gets you a plant. Here's a plant. If you keep that for a year, we're gonna upgrade you to a goldfish. If you keep the goldfish up for a year, we're gonna get you a dog. If you keep that dog alive for a year, and you don't kill and take care of it, now you could have a kid.
Wow. Okay.
Tell me that's not a bad idea. Tell me it's not a bad idea. If everybody who are going to have a kid had to go down to the Humane Society and lease a dog for a year, you get an older dog that maybe stuck in there. They're not going to be around for. Dogs don't live that long. 15 years max.
Yeah.
And after a dog's a 7, 8, 9-year-old dog, you really have a few years left there for him, right?
Right.
Why not take that dog who's in a pound somewhere and give it a good home and use that as your trial baby, so you could really, and then you could get a bonding experience. It's great for the dog too, right?
Yeah.
I just solved the pet population.
You did.
There you go. You don't like that idea, or you like that idea? It's out there. I know.
I kind of like that idea, but yeah, it's kind of out there. But
yeah,
okay.
it is a little out there. But kids don't come with a manual. I hate to say it that way,
Yeah.
but there's no manual of when they do this, you do this. It's all trial and error, and you hope you don't screw them up too bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy. So I don't know what else you got. You're the one that's asking political questions
yeah.
now. What other questions you have?
I don't know. I think you covered it.
What about the Hamas Israel? Well, how do you feel about that?
Someone put it into perspective where it was Israel's like our 9/11. So when you think of it that way, you're like, yeah, I think it sucks that there's a bunch of innocent people that are getting killed that, there was no need for it. So, I mean, I guess I can't really blame Israel for going back and retaliating.
Well, you can't let them get away with it, right?
Yeah, you can't let them get away with it. That's, I mean, unfortunately, yeah, that's one of those things. You can't let them get away with it because they're just going to go do it to somebody else.
Or do it to you again.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times, if I walked up and I punched you in the face, how many times before can I do that before you hit me back?
None. Because I'm going to hit you, do it once, I'm going to hit you back.
So why is it so bad when Israel does it?
I don't think it's bad that they did it. I just hope they don't keep it going for years.
2 years.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Eventually things do end. That's what people don't understand.
Right.
There are countries as far back as biblical times. Some countries have risen, some countries have fallen. Countries that have the best infrastructure kind of last the longest. Rome was one of those. Rome had a good infrastructure. They had a good system in place, and they lasted for a long time. But I hate to say it, but even Rome fell. Mm-hmm. So no matter how good your system is, it's still people.
Yeah.
And if your people in power do not have the best interest at heart of their citizens, that's when you're going to start failing. And that's what people don't understand. So we have the ability to look back and say, yep, I could see, especially with Rome, Germany has done it a few times. We could look back and we could say, yep, we could see where they turned. The problem is we can see that in others. We just can't see that into ourselves.
Yeah.
So that we have a lot of political people that are going down the wrong path, and they're not willing to take a step back and say, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe instead of towing the party lines, maybe we should start doing what's right. Let's take a step back, because if we keep going down this road, we're going to cause a problem. That happened already in the United States. It was called the Civil War.
Right.
Now everybody wants to say that was over, direct relation to slavery. Yes, slavery had a big part of it, but it was also states' rights. States were fighting for their rights, and they didn't think that the federal government should have stepped in on a lot of those issues. They thought it was a lot of issues that should have been on a state level.
Yeah.
That's really why the Civil War sparked off. Okay. You had a bunch of states that were infighting. Certain states wanted certain rights. Unfortunately, one of them was slavery. Mm-hmm. The other one's like, nope, that's wrong. Now, I agree with them. I agree slavery was wrong. I agree that had to happen. I hate to say it, but the South picked the wrong pony on that one.
Yep.
If they would have picked any other pony, that might have had a different result. Mm-hmm. If they said, yep, you're right about that, but you're wrong about this other stuff, and they would have, conceded, say, yep, we're not gonna have slavery, and they took that off the table, it might have been a different story.
It might have been.
But here's the problem. I can see that same mentality going now. You have, unfortunately, California has different resources, different needs than we have here in Nebraska. Yeah. Texas does too. So you got to understand that what's good for one state isn't necessarily good for all states. That's not the way it works. And when you try to take everything to the federal level and you make that blanket across the board, a lot of it doesn't make sense. There's a lot of laws that are great for a big city, mm-hmm. make no sense for rural areas or smaller towns.
Yeah.
I hate to say it that way, but that's the way it is. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy there. So we did kind of get a little political, but that's okay. That's
yeah. It'll happen every once in a while. So
yep, it does happen every once in a while. So if you want more on political, our show's probably not going to be for you. Mm-hmm. If you want to have a good time, that's our show. Now, if you want hard-hitting, political, up-to-date, stuff ongoing and, stuff like that, a little more hardcore political side of it,
Go check out the Prod, the
Prod.
Proud American Patriot with Chad.
Yep, Chad with the Proud American Patriot is the way to go.
Okay.
He'll have a good show.
He will.
Well, I'm sure he'll continue to be a guest on ours, and I will continue to be a guest on his, and you might get a little more. I might get a little more political on there because I could go to toe to toe with the big guys there.
Yeah. So yeah.
I think that's a pretty good after show.
I think it was too.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure that if you're listening, like us on Facebook, subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Do the same thing with the Proud American Patriot. Give him some support and some love. But I think that will be our show.
Alrighty, bye everybody.